the safety net, and together we can cover the unsheltered. Get caught up in the spirit of the season, the spirit of love. Make a difference with your friends at KBLA Talk 1580.
Might as well put your hands together. Got joy in my soul. God is in control. I got Satan on my trail, but I'm singing all is well. He's attacking every day, but I'm watching while I pray. No matter the attack, I won't turn back. 'Cause this means war. This means war. This means war. This means war.
KBLA Talk 1580. I'm so excited to have on with me this morning two powerful voices back on the show. Courtney Bernard Vance. He's an actor. You know his face. You know his work. He started his career on stage, moved to film and television. He has all kinds of accolades, including a Tony and 2 Primetime Emmy Awards, nominations for Grammy, Golden Globe, SAG Award, and so much more. Courtney B. Vance, good morning.
Good morning, Dominique. Good morning to you.
Yes, welcome back on the show. I so enjoyed our conversation last time. We're also being joined by Dr. Robin L. Smith, a licensed psychologist. She draws from her professional and her personal experiences to help transform adversity into purpose and power. She's a best-selling author and a media personality. Dr. Robin L. Smith, welcome.
Good morning. Good morning, Dominique. How are you?
I'm blessed, and I'm so grateful to you both for the book, The Invisible Ache, Black Men Identifying Their Pain and Reclaiming Their Power. As the mama of a black boy, a teenager, these are things that aren't just theoretical. They're things that are really kind of scary when you see the numbers and see what's happening with the peer group of my teenager. It's timely. This is Courtney Vance. Obviously, your own personal experience and your own personal life set this piece in motion, but it's really timely for many of us who haven't experienced such a personal loss.
Dr. Robin and I have been going around the country and will continue to, and it is very obvious. We were speaking last night in Philly, at a church in Philly, and she and I just talk. There's generally no format, there's no moderator, we just talk, and as the Spirit leads us, we go. And it's to see the joy and the pain, the sunshine and the rain, of course, but to see the movement of the Spirit as the table is set, and how so much of it, of what we deal with in life, is just the fact that nobody has set the table for it, and the people are very desperate for a word. And some concrete information, and that's what's beautiful about what Dr. Robin and I do, is that I talk with life situations, and Doc comes behind me or in front of me and talks about what we can do and what are the concrete things, what are the numbers that say, and the combination of those two is absolutely emotionally devastating.
Yeah. It's also important. I feel like Dr. Robin, many times when I try to have these conversations on the show about our mental health, people don't want to, they want the information, but they don't necessarily want to open up and be vulnerable the way that Courtney Vance has done and say, this is what I'm going through. Can you address it?
Mm-hmm. Well, so much of that, Dominique, has to do with conditioning, that we as Black people have not been shown the way of liberation and freedom. We've been taught how to wear the mask, as Paul Laurence Dunbar says, that grins and lies. Not because we're liars, not because we are weak, but simply we do what was taught. We do the cover-up because we don't know that with all of our humanity, and all means the parts of us that are feeble, the parts of us that have stumbled and fallen down and gotten up, but no one knows really much about the falling down because we are ashamed of our fullness, of our wholeness as human beings. So Courtney and I talk a lot about we all have holes, Holes. We all have broken places that have left cracks and crevices and craters of holes. And we're longing to be whole, WHOLE, which is a holy, HOLY journey. And so when your callers and your listeners, or maybe your listeners who don't call in to say, hey, it's me, that happened to me. I was depressed. I couldn't get out of the bed. Courtney and I shared last night in Philadelphia, as he shared, that's my hometown. And one of the things we talk about is, suicide. You will ask people, have you ever had any thoughts of suicide? And many people, not just Black, but many Black people say, oh, no. I wouldn't do that. I'm a person of faith. I'm a Christian. And then they fill in the blank about why they wouldn't ever have even considered being at the end of their rope. But I share that I don't know about other people, but many of us know what it is like to have an onslaught of pain and suffering, things that feel that they won't ever get better, and wish that quite possibly the sun would not greet us when we awaken. I mean, that doesn't mean I have a plan to kill myself, but it certainly means that my despair is running deep, wide, and worthy.
Continuous.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, when I was a kid, I used to think about suicide a lot, and I never understood it, but I just was just something that was in my brain. And when, fast forward to a couple of years ago, when my mom passed, she put out a book called Spring and Autumn Annals, which talks about, the time when I was a little kid. And her best friend danced out a window and killed himself. And my mom would write every single day for a whole year through a stick of incense. And I thought, and that's when it dawned on me, that was me as a little kid. That's what I was in. That's the environment that I was in. And for you, Courtney, your own father took his life. Those early experiences, well, I mean, you weren't a little kid, you were a young man, but still, they impact every part of our lives, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. And which is why my mother, I mean, you look at MLK. He tried to take his life 2 times when he was a young man and youngster at 12 years old or so. I mean, so it's the numbers. We really don't know the numbers, and the numbers are probably astronomical because it is something that, as you said, Dominique, it was in your mind,
right? And
once those thoughts are in your mind, you have to work doubly hard, bend over backwards to put the positive thoughts in there, the positive actions, the positive habits to counteract that. As long as it took to get in there, you're going to have to work double to get those thoughts out of there. That's not an option. And I'm a reader. I'm a biographer. I like big, fat, 1,000-page, 900, 800-page biographies. And I put them on my Audible my Kindle Audible, and I listen when I have when I'm waiting for things. And I just finished a Golda Meir biography, and because I didn't know anything about her. I said a woman ran a country in the 40s, in the 60s, and 70s, and was dealing with Kissinger and Nixon, and and Anwar Sadat. I said, what? And to listen to her pushing through things with all her physical ailments, with all of her issues, with all the dealing with these men. I said during that time period and the pressures, and it just gives me confidence that things that just because something is going wrong, or just because something is not how we think it to be, it doesn't mean that something's wrong. It just means a lot of times we have to push, and in life we think we're going to have to go through some things.
Right.
And the question is, what are we going to do? And that's what Dr. Robin points to when we talk. As I talk about, I give my anecdotes and I talk about my life and my issues and pressures and journeys, and she can come behind me or in front of me and set the table for what can we do. And that's what I think is so moving about when we get together and talk to people. Is not just me saying, and then the people say, "Oh yeah, wow, what? Well, I know," and then they're stuck because they don't know what to do with. I know, yeah, I know.
Wow,
I feel that too.
You're crazy.
So that's the beauty of Dr. Robin. And Dr. Robin, what do people do?
What do people do, and does it matter if you even know, like, why? The why, I feel this way, or why this keeps happening. Can we just act as Courtney says?
Well, I think what is so powerful that Courtney is reminding all of us of in this moment, and he says this each time we share in some way, that the why is so much less important, meaning the why someone took their life, died by suicide.
Right.
The why, and again, it's not that it is unimportant, but we can get lost in a really wasteful search about the why, and not live in the power of the right now, it is moment. So, I wonder why this happened. I wonder why my father died by suicide. I wonder why my brother struggled with drugs. Those are legitimate questions. But what is more important is, and we say this in the book, not do you hurt, but where do you hurt? Not why do you hurt. See, because why questions, just so that we all know this. I'm careful in my own languaging of concerns and frustrations about asking a why question, even when I really want to know why. But the truth of the matter is, it's a distraction from the fact that it is. And so where do you hurt now? Not why do you hurt, but where is your ache? And so, Dominique, as you were asking, when you bring up mental health and people don't want to say, like, raise their hand and say, oh, it's, I'm struggling, or my family has struggled for generations with this. We know that in the African American families, and this is true again in all families, but we had an uncle or an auntie or someone who seemed what they called a little touched. Mm-hmm. That's what we called it. They were a little touched. They were a little odd, a little strange. And Courtney shares about his father having been in the foster care system. And Courtney's grandmother, and I'll let Courtney tell the details of the story, but what I will say before he shares that story is his grandmother, his paternal grandmother, who was forced to give up Courtney's father into the foster care system. People thought when Courtney's grandmother was talking, whom Courtney did not know, when she was talking about my boy. Where's my boy? I want my boy. They were like, Nana. I mean, again, Nana's touch. Nana, maybe she's a little senile, or maybe if she's young in her life, something's a little off with her. There was nothing off with her. Her ache. She had an invisible, legitimate ache that she was craving and calling for her son. And so how often, Dominique, are we dismissing either ourselves and our ache or the ache of someone around us, wanting them to kind of get it together?
Yeah. Yeah. Suck it up. Get it together. Courtney B. Vance and Dr. Robin L. Smith are my guests this morning. The book, The Invisible Ache, Black Men Identifying Their Pain and Reclaiming Their Power. Continuing the conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
She's so smooth, so... I'm interrupting my own shower to remind you to treat your skin like the queen she is with Olay Hyaluronic Body Wash, packed with Olay's highest level of vitamin B3 complex. It's so moisturizing that it will give you visibly smoother, head-turning skin in just 14 days. People wondering, how'd she get so smooth? Olay Hyaluronic Body Wash. Also, try Olay Hyaluronic Body Lotion.
Environmental justice, pollution, and climate. In Los Angeles and across America, people of color are suffering and dying from disproportionate health impacts on a planet that has less than 10 years to prevent irreversible damage. Heat illnesses, respiratory illnesses, water-related illnesses, food system impacts, insect-related diseases, Black maternal health, and mental health effects. As the impacts of climate change mount, millions of vulnerable people, our people, are going to bear the brunt of these extreme environmental events, which will likely lead to forced displacement, loss of cultural identity, and other related risks. These realities are as real as rain. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details about the most progressive multimedia and live events campaign any Black media outlet has ever undertaken to combat the climate catastrophe. Experts, events, empowerment. It's all on the way from unapologetically progressive KBLA Talk 1580. We don't black down. We level up.
Level up, 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 level up.
Hey, nacho fries are back at Taco Bell, and there's even more fries to love. But they're not going to hang around forever, so don't wait. Or you might miss out on these hot, crisp fries covered in all those bold Mexican spices with delicious nacho cheese sauce. Or wait and just settle for flavorless fries. Regular, bland, spiceless, flavorless, flimsy, non-nacho fries. Just an absolute bummer of a fry.
Nacho fries are back. Get them today, only at Taco Bell. At participating U.S. Taco Bell locations for a limited time only while supplies last. Contact local store for hours and participation which vary.
1 in 4 Americans today are living with a disability. I'm one of them. People with disabilities are extremely talented, resilient problem solvers that have so much to offer. And we've got a trusted ally on our side, an organization we can rely on, Easter Seals. Easter Seals is leading the way to full equity, inclusion, and access to healthcare, employment, and education for people with disabilities, families, and communities. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours.
Learn more and get involved at easterseals.com.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Courtney B. Vance and Dr. Robin L. Smith are my guests. Before we went to news, traffic, and sports, Courtney Vance, Dr. Robin brought up the story of your great-grandmother. It's heartbreaking story. But, you know, it I don't know if you want to share that or folks need to go get the book, The Invisible Ache, but really it speaks to this idea of how we're impacted by our family history in such a remarkable way that you discovered the truth.
And the truth will, if we allow it, set us free. And the that's why the moral to the story is the painful moral to the story is that these two people were circling each other, completely missed each other, the mother and the son. And the son my father lived his entire life thinking his mother didn't want him. And the mother spent the rest of her life searching for her boy. And the family, thinking they're doing the right thing, sending the boy to the foster care and never being able to track him down. So if something changes, they'll be able to tell the mother, tell Miss Ardella, Grandmommy, Nana, where her boy is. I mean, and that's the thing that the slavery did to us, separated families. And what do? We just sucked it up. That's what we learned how to do. That's why it's so in us to keep it quiet, because it was a survival mechanism. Families were separated, and we just sucked it up. And there was no therapy sessions back in the day, black in the day. There was no how are you feeling? Do you need something? Do you need to talk to something? There was none of that. So we did, our parents and grandparents and great-grandparents and great-great-great-great-great, they did the best that they could. So I don't go back and go, they should have done nothing but stay black and die. And that's what they did. The question for me, the question for us, is because we do have the tools. They're available to us, but we're living in this technological age, and that things are moving so fast. But in the realm of our emotional health and mental health, we're still in the back ages, and we're still dealing like we ain't got no information. And so it's time. That's what we're saying. It's time to come forward and deal with the person that's just a little touched, that's staying up in the attic or down in the basement. And them stories, it's time to tell them stories. There's no shame in it. There's no shame. There's only freedom. There's only freedom in coming forward in our lives and saying, starting small. I need to take a walk. I need to go get my mammogram. I need to go my prostate. I just start small. I need to stop eating all that pork. I need to stop. I know what I need to do. I know what I need to do. And a lot of it, yes, I pray. Yes. But as Dr. Robin says to us all the time, it reminds us, it takes us to the good book, is that faith without works is dead, being alone. So we've got to do some work.
Yeah, I mean, Courtney Vance says we know what we need to do. I think that's true. I think that's right. But you also mentioned shame, and I want to toss that to Dr. Robin, because to me, regardless of the why, shame is crippling. And, you can call it pride, you could call it, survival mechanism, whatever it is. How do I step out of that shame, step over that shame, and get to that truth that would, as you said, Courtney, if I let it, set me free?
Well, and that promise about the truth will set us free, it didn't say it was always going to make us happy. There's a difference between happiness and freedom.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with happiness. But if I had to choose between being happy and being free, if I had to choose to, be happy but in bondage, which is more of what we know than what it means to be free in truth and in liberation. But that's new for us to understand that we have a choice and a decision to make. In terms of shame, shame is really rooted, and I call shame and blame really the toxic twins, because they go nowhere fast. They don't give you inspiration. They don't give you encouragement. They drag you down. And so I think of this story. It's not in this book, but it's in either Lies at the Altar. I think it's in Hungry, my second book, Hungry, the Truth About Being Full. And I talk about my mother. I was separating many years ago from my husband at the time. And I was on my way to therapy, not to give therapy, to get it. See, this is the other thing about shame. If I don't tell you that Dr. Robin used to go to therapy, goes to therapy, and will keep going at some point, just like we get tune-ups and go to have our teeth cleaned, hopefully, these maintenance things. So I was on my way to therapy, to my therapist, and my house was empty at the time. I was waiting for furniture to be delivered because of my separation. And my mother says to me as I come down the stairs, she said, honey, and I knew something was coming. And she said, honey, and I said, yes, Mommy. She said, are you going to put on lipstick? And I wish you all could see me right now. I was like, lipstick? And she said, well, you know, like I know. And my mother and father, my father was a physician, psychiatrist, my mother a psychiatric social worker, trained at some of the best institutions in the country. And she said, you know, like I know, that, you know, every time you go out, someone is making an assessment of you. And a therapist, now this is somebody I've been seeing, this therapist, but your therapist will, you know, assess how you're doing by how you show up. I said, precisely, Mommy. My marriage is over. My house is empty. And you're asking me, am I going to put lipstick on so that I look better than what I am?
Going to have to continue this conversation after news, traffic, and sports. That is deep. We are talking with Courtney B. Vance and Dr. Robin on KBLA, Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
We'd like to welcome you on into a Friday. It is November 10th. I'm Mike Moore. Now, here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Envelopes with suspicious powdery substances have been found at election offices in states across the country. Authorities in Washington, Oregon, California, Nevada, and Georgia are investigating the envelopes, which were all received this week. It's unknown if the incidents are all connected. The top Democrat in the House is warning of a possible government shutdown next week. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries called on Republicans to work with Democrats to keep the government open beyond the November 17th deadline. The African-American Democrat is urging his colleagues to pass a continuing resolution at 2023 spending levels and rallied against the GOP agenda. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Want to save big on custom faux wood blinds, shutters, cellular shades, and more? Shop Blindster today and save up to 50% over comparable blinds from brick-and-mortar stores. Get custom blinds at low prices and free shipping at Blindster.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Comedian Chris Rock sat courtside at the Galen Center last night for the home opener for USC's men's basketball team. The Trojans beat Cal State Bakersfield by 26. Rock and the rest of the crowd saw the star quality of freshman guard Isaiah Collier, the nation's #1 recruit in the class of 2023. Collier led the 2-0 Trojans with 19 points, 5 assists, 4 steals, and 3 rebounds. The Lakers and Clippers are back in action tonight. Both are trying to get their first road win. The Lakers are in Phoenix. The Clippers are in Dallas. The Lakers don't know yet if Anthony Davis will be able to play. Davis has muscle spasms in his left hip. Davis will likely be a game-time decision. 7 p.m. tip-off for the Lakers in Phoenix on ESPN. The Clippers in Dallas tip-off at 5:30 on Bally Sports. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, Maisha Cairo here, KBLA, live at Chase Bank on Crenshaw and Vernon for the In This Together tour with female business owners, a day of empowerment, community panels, and best of all, tips on building business from marketing to capital. I was able to speak with one of the panelists, the owner of Kids Love. Take a listen.
So Kids Love, KIDSLUV, is a first-to-market zero-sugar, vitamin-enhanced functional beverage for kids.
So the zero sugar is really important because if not, the sugar gets on the teeth, it can cause cavities. So as a mom, I love this vitamins and hydration in one. Tell us what's happening here with Chase Bank today.
So I would say, I think what Chase is trying to do is create a community actually for entrepreneurs, a place where people can go. They have the space to do it. It's a beautiful space. And to be able to have these conversations. There are so many benefits to being a women-owned and certified business from a standpoint of getting into stores, not paying the slotting fees of what it takes to be in stores. So I think Chase is trying to bring awareness to a lot of the things that people just don't know about, that not only the bank can help, but outside of the bank, their relationships can help create.
That's beautiful. And I know, this is how we build equity in communities of color, is kind of spreading that information and that knowledge. So thank you for being here today and doing your part and letting these women know that it is possible.
For KBLA 1580, I'm Maisha Cairo in the community with Chase.
Beloved Entertainment presents Sweet Spot Live with me, Angelique Francis, at the beautiful Miracle Theater at 226 South Market Street in Inglewood on Sunday, November 19th at 6 p.m. Join me with KBLA for short stories told live on stage with us, by us. Yes, our own storytellers straight from the neighborhood. Colorful and provocative live storytelling event celebrating our unique culture, our strength, our courage, our faith, and yes, our fire. We invite you to walk with us through the neighborhood, even run with us down our dark alleys if you dare. Just around the corner, there is laughter, unspeakable pain, secrets never told. But don't worry. The door is unlocked and we're going to leave the porch light on. That's Sunday, November 19th at the Miracle Theater, 226 Market Street in Inglewood, 6 p.m. Yes, it is all happening right here in the Sweet Spot. Tickets available, sweetspotlive.eventbrite.com, sweetspotlive.eventbrite.com. We got a lot to talk about.
Broadcasting live from Leimert Park, USA. Welcome back to your home for unapologetically progressive radio, KBLA Talk 1580.
Yes, indeed. Actor Courtney B. Vance, author Courtney B. Vance, and Dr. Robin L. Smith, a.k.a. Dr. Robin, are my guests. And Dr. Robin, you were talking about this moment with your mom.
About the cover-up, cover-up that we are taught to do by those who love us. And my mother, again, this brilliant Black woman, a rock star in many ways, and yet her fear and shame that her daughter would be judged and that she would be judged if I went to therapy and didn't have lipstick on. And so I said, no, I'm not putting lipstick on. I said, Mommy, are you kidding me? Do you see what's around me? Like, my house is empty. Things are falling apart down and around me. And I'm going to therapy, and I don't know what, my therapist will be thinking, except they're quite possibly incongruent, and I look like how I feel. Right. I look like how I feel. And so part of the invisible ache and our invitation that Courtney, through the loss of his father from suicide and his 23-year young godson, who was vibrant and smart, and black and a king, from an intact family, that we are dismantling the lie that sick people, emotionally, or weak people, or rich people are the only people who need to go to some kind of therapy. And that doesn't mean necessarily a one-on-one. It may mean like what Courtney and I are doing around the country, which is coming to a safe place to begin to tell the truth, not to your neighbor, but to begin to tell the truth to yourself. Where do you hurt today?
Where do you hurt? Courtney B. Vance, this book focuses on black men, and in particular, talk to me about that choice.
The choice for black men
to focus on, on black men, in this piece.
Well, I know it may be, some people may not know this. It may be a secret. I'm black.
Dang! I wish you would have told me sooner.
Yeah, right. It's not which is not to say that only black men are suffering with this pain. It's a human situation, but because in this country and in this world, black is the last thing to be focused on, which is why we when we can, we focus on ourselves in whichever way we can, which is why the Black Lives Matter situation and movement happened, which is not to say that all lives don't matter. Yes, they do. They absolutely do. And the blue lives and the yellow lives and the orange lives and the green lives, all lives matter. But in this world that we live in, everyone in their spirit, if not in their minds and in their souls, know that black lives are the last things to matter. And so, which is why things are happening to black people, and we have a part in it, but society and our culture has a part in it. And you could look at it as we talked about throughout our tour about just an angel food cake, and Dr. Robin will talk about it. And why is a black male a negative thing, a black thing? Why is the color black associated so oftentimes with negative things? And so that it's in our DNA, unfortunately, about black being a negative thing. And so we're trying to lift us up in all ways that we can, and in this journey of dealing with this shame, as you all were talking about previously, this shame. It's a deep thing that the entire world is involved in. But we have to start with ourselves and healing ourselves and looking at why is it that we feel that something that was put on us 400 years ago is still in our DNA, and that we are complicit in our shaming ourselves, and that's why it's a slow process. When a board of Bishop Blake, our pastor, our bishop for 53 years at West Angeles Church of God in Christ, said, I remember him saying, when a board is warped, you have to bend it over backwards, way past level, so that once you release it, it releases even. So we've got to bend over backwards and put in those good habits, those gentle habits, those new habits to that we can do that are healthy for us. Maybe you can't walk in your neighborhood. Maybe you might have to. And it's work. My mother knew that she couldn't walk in her neighborhood, but she knew she had to. So she got in her car and drove 20 miles to a gym downtown Detroit, near the wasn't actually downtown. It was near the GM building, the old GM building. Found a gym that she liked, and 3 or 4 times a week she went to her gym because she was going to get it in there however she could, because she knew she knew that she needed to take her classes. She wanted to do and be in community with people, so that when we went and visited her, she said, "I'm going to go to the gym." My sister and I said, "Well, we want to go with you," and we couldn't even keep up with her in those classes at 75 years young, because she recognized, I've got to do something for myself. And however we do that, I don't care if it's picking up a book and reading something. You can give yourself something. You know, we were talking to someone the other day, Dr. Robin will let you know, and it was me who said, "Yeah, I gave myself, I needed some water. Do you mind if I take a break and get some water?" And Dr. Robin said, "You see, that's the smallest thing." That Courtney said he needed to get some water, and we paused for me to get some water. Instead of me going in my spirit, I know I need to get some water. I'm going to let it go because I don't want to inconvenience anybody. Sometimes you got to inconvenience a couple people so that you can get something for yourself. Am I right, Dr. Ryan?
Absolutely. I mean, you've got to learn that you're not here for the service, meaning of others. And I don't mean that we don't serve and support each other, but it is different. If you think that you were born, and this comes right out of being enslaved, if you think you're here to accommodate Mr. and Madam and everyone else and quench their thirst and address their ache, because we know on those plantations there was so much happening, not only to those who were enslaved, but to the families who did the enslavement. So much suffering, so much betrayal, so much pain. And we were often the soft blanket that nursed, literally and figuratively, their children. We sat bedside and prayed and read, and when we were allowed to read, and nurtured them. And so what Courtney and I are talking about now is learn what it means in small ways. As he said, we're not talking about starting at number 10. We're saying that if you're thirsty, then tend to your own thirst. And Courtney tells that story because, yeah.
Oh, no, I wasn't talking to you. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that. I was talking to my engineer, but yeah.
Oh, no. Just that it is so important that we deconstruct the ways in which we have been taught. And we don't know that we've been brainwashed, which is why I always say we need to now wash our brains from the messages that were given that say you wait and you can stay thirsty and you can ignore your ache and tend to someone else's ache. So this is a new moment with the invisible ache, Black men identifying their pain and reclaiming their power. It's a new invitation that you are worthy.
And what did that gentleman say that we were on a radio show? And he said, I don't have the luxury in my life to take care of myself.
I'm sorry for laughing, but wow.
I mean, that's real. That he was absolutely real. He wasn't joking.
No,
he
I'm sure he wasn't.
That he had the right to take and whatever that means, take care of yourself. Whatever that means. So consequently, all those little things and big things are not taken care of. So of course, it may be that he's not going to go to the doctor to look at his prostate situation because, quote unquote, he doesn't have the luxury to do that.
Well, I mean, the reason I'm laughing is because we perish when we don't have the luxury to do the things we have to do, right? To be well.
We perish, and the generations in front perish because we are their example. Courtney, when his father died by suicide, Mommy Vance, Courtney's mother, said to Courtney and his sister, they spent a month there helping his mother get her affairs in order. And when they were leaving to go back to their respective, when Courtney and his sister were leaving to go back to their respective cities and homes, Mommy Vance said, in that soft way, and so Courtney, like me with my mother, when my mother said honey, Courtney, when Mommy Vance said something with a certain tone, they knew, something is coming. And she said, look, we're all going to go to therapy. I'm going to get myself some help here, and you and your sister are going to get help in your respective towns. And we always mention that, Courtney and I do, as not only in the book, but when we're on the road, because how often do parents say, do what I say, not what I do? And so it is important, Dominique, as you're talking about this, and we're talking about the young man who said he doesn't have the luxury. And we said, well, if you plan to take care of all the things on your plate that are overwhelming you right now, the key ingredient is that you make time to care for yourself. And we could watch his brain. This is a young black man. We could watch his brain trying to compute what this new equation might be, where he is actually in the equation as a worthy priority instead of as an afterthought.
Wow, time flies when you're on the radio. Courtney B. Vance and Dr. Robin will get some final thoughts. I can't believe it when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
Meet LA's most affordable health plan. This open enrollment season, LA Care Covered is proud to offer the lowest cost health plans in Los Angeles County, featuring zero cost preventive services to help you achieve your wellness goals. Be part of the region's largest HMO network, featuring UCLA Health, Optum, and allied physicians without breaking the bank. We are here to help. Call us at 855-222-4239 for enrollment assistance. That's 855-222-4239. LA Care Covered. Your wellness, our mission.
Joey from Vermont, a farmer trying to get through the winter. Adriana from South Carolina, a single mother living paycheck to paycheck. Liam from Ohio, an injured father struggling to provide for his family. Hi, I'm Shanola Hampton, and I support the Feeding America network of food banks because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
Now. We tend not to think about now. We dream about tomorrow, relive yesterday. But right now in front of us is victory over cancer. Right now, cancer research funded by the V Foundation is leading to better treatments and saving lives. Victory over cancer is there for the taking by you, because today's cancer research is tomorrow's victory. Learn more at v.org.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Your floors can go from clean to dirty fast. From juice spills, whoops, to muddy paw prints, to little sticky finger marks. Good thing your Swiffer WetJet works fast too. Swiffer WetJet easily cleans everyday messes as quick as they happen. The next mess is right around the corner. So grab your Swiffer WetJet and just spray, push, all clean.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DePrima on First Things First.
Courtney B. Vance and Dr. Robin L. Smith are my guests. The Invisible Ache, Black Men Identifying Their Pain and Reclaiming Their Power is the book. One of the things I love about this is that you do have very specific and not just sloganish things to do. As you reference, Courtney, it's not just about like digging it up. It's what do we do? You want to share some of those with us?
for me, it's the things that I need to do to, as my mother realized, it's very easy to say, I can't walk because my neighborhood is what it is. And so, or I can't ride my bike, or I can't get some air. And that's the journey for all of us. I think the question is, because that's real. That's real talk. Everybody doesn't live where you can go out and walk around, at night. That what a blessing that is, to be able to walk in your neighborhood, and with a friend, and maybe just a little flashlight or a stick, a golf club, whatever. You couldn't even do that in my mother's name. My mother said, "I'm not walking in my neighborhood, okay?" And if she was walking, my sister and I would be going there and getting her, and having an escort or something. But so she figured out something different. And that's what we're talking about. Whatever you need to do for yourself to give you something. And as the gentleman said, he didn't feel he had the luxury. And I heard him. That's real.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I understand that so completely. But the question is, but what are you going to do? Because eventually that's going to catch up with you in all kinds of ways. And, just to be able to, for myself, because I know I like to ride my bike. Or we live in an area where there are hills. I like to walk up these hills because I can get my steps in and it cuts me up. So what can you do? And as I'm walking, I'm listening to my book, my audible book, which gives me something, takes me places. And I'm drinking my water as I'm walking. So, find something for yourself that you can do that's small, so that your mind can go someplace without being intoxicated somehow or medicated somehow. Because it's all about our minds. Where do we, as a person thinks in their mind, they are.
Mm. And one of those that caught my attention, Dr. Robin, feed your spark, not your sorrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really about that. What we focus on is what grows, and what grows has dominion over us. And that's a simple way, and really that's what Courtney was talking about just now. We have a choice about doing something. I talk about moving our body so that we can move our brain, which means our thoughts. You got to move it, because if you get stuck, on the negative, if you get stuck on stupid, as they say, if you get stuck on your despair, you will nurture and grow that. If you allow yourself to move your brain from places of trauma, I didn't say ignore the trauma. I said work with it, do the work, and move your body, because we know that in moving our bodies, there are endorphins, there are things. That's just a big word for there's chemical stuff that is good for, that our body releases, that our brain releases into our body. So we've got to move the brain and move the body so we can do what? Move the burden. Because if we don't do that, the burden ultimately wins. And it wins not because it's bigger than you, not because your trauma is more triumphant than your resourcefulness. It wins because you did not know that you were worthy, equipped, and powerful to live a more, actually in a more excellent way, a life that you deserve to live, and your divine birthright to be free.
Well, I thank you guys both so much for spending the hour with us at November 14th at West Angeles Church of God in Christ, 6:30 p.m. The Reparations bookstore, Black-owned bookstore, will be on site selling books there, and we just want to make sure that if you can get this book, The Invisible Ache, it's available where you get your books. That you go and check it out for yourself. We've got about a minute here before we hand off to Tavis Smiley. Courtney B. Vance, you want to give us the last word here?
The last word is we're worth it. That's what I could have very easily. My sister and I could have very easily stayed, and when my mother gave us the charge to go find someone to talk to, we could have very easily said, okay, Mommy, and not done it. And I would not be prepared for where I am today, for Angela, for the Brahman and Slater, our children, and for our future, and for their future. And so you're worth it. You don't know what God's got for your future. And I'm just trying to be obedient and trying to serve and trying to help. Try to help.
Well, Courtney B. Vance and Dr. Robin L. Smith, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you so much.
Yes, and thank you for the great.
Thank you, Robin.
Yeah, thank you for the great work you guys are doing. Tavis Smiley's up next. Best of Tavis Smiley. He's got Rick Fox for you. I'm Dominique DePrima. History is now, and we are making it together. Until Monday, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
We'd like to welcome you on into a Friday. It is November 10th. I'm Mike Moore.